going on, everybody? Hope you can hear me. Trying out this new headset. Actually, it's not new, it's my girlfriend's. She's had it for a while. But I tried using it once and it didn't really work. But I think I got it to work now. So I hope you all can hear me. Sweet. So, something I've been kind of delving more into and thinking about is like style. And a lot of people out there say, oh, it's not that important. It's not something you need to worry about. It's something that you develop over time, and it just kind of happens. You know what I mean? So you develop the way you put paint on, and I kind of understand that aspect of it, um, because I can look at most of my work and kind of see, through some of it, there are things that I repeat or certain themes that I go back to, like a strong sense of light, dappled light with shadows. There's certain colors that I use with still lifes. I like a lot of warm colors, um, a lot of oranges, reds, yellows, uh, and little hints of greens and stuff like that. So, um, but I look at my work over the past few years of all the paintings that I've done, excuse me, and I can see that I to me I don't really have a clear style. What separates me from any other painter out there that you could see on Instagram or YouTube or wherever? Um, I can look at my landscapes or my still lifes or anything, any painting that I've done, and I've mostly done still lifes and landscapes, a few portraits here and there, but there's nothing I feel that separates me from any other artist doing landscapes. What's so special about my landscapes? What makes them different? You know what I mean? And I think this is something that a lot of people run into, um, and it's something that I've always thought about. I just may not have cared about it as much, but now I'm really starting to care about it because I want to start trying to make a living selling art and um, or selling the emotion that and I'll get into that a little bit, as this kind of discussion progresses. And I also want to know what you guys think out there, because this is a discussion. It's not just me lecturing. Um, so for me, like creating a style, like I have some notes here about a style, and basically to begin, you have to figure out well, let me just say this is how I kind of got into looking into this. Um, I ask myself when I look at other painters that I enjoy, what what I have a lot of distractions right now. What I'm trying to say is like what creates, like, how do I know it's their painting? Like a Richard Schmid, how do I know that's Richard Schmid's painting? How do I know that that's a Sargent painting? How do I know that that's Van Gogh? Just by looking at it, you know what I mean? And there's a lot of artists out there where you can just look and you know it's theirs. And nowadays it's even tougher because there's so many artists that emulate other people and have a very similar style. And sometimes it's confusing. You thought it was this guy's painting, but it's actually her painting. And her painting has a similar style. But I mean, you even see that 100 years ago with Sargent. There's people that uh, you look at their paintings and you go, "Wow, it looks like a Sargent, like really great," but it's not Sargent; it's somebody else. And they're not as known, but they're still known. So when I was looking into styles and trying to figure out, I asked myself, what defines a style? And to me, it's the instant recognition when viewing a single painting. And of course, you kind of have to be familiar with like a body of their work or at least some of their other paintings. But, Van Gogh, most people know Starry Night, boom, they know that style of really thick brushstrokes and just that kind of, almost like Edgar Payne, just different. Um, but really brushstrokey and stuff like that, blocky type of strokes, instant recognition. And it's also a certain recurring themes throughout a body of work. So it could be, and then I had to break these things down. So what kind of themes? It could be, um, the certain themes. It could be subject matter. It could be how they apply the paint, colors they use, uh, the mood and emotion they convey throughout, work. Um, if you think of like tonal paintings and tonalist painters, they have this poetic kind of emotion and sense of something that's hard to put into words. You view it and you can feel it. Uh, but it's very like poetic, you know what I mean? Soft, those evening light, the kind of monochromatic scenes. These can kind of evoke some kind of emotion. And there's many paintings out there that almost any painting can evoke some kind of emotion. It's just what is that emotion and how do you kind of create an emotion? And it all deals with the colors you use, how do you apply the paint, the subject matter you choose. And um, so it's like the overall theme as well. Is your stuff moody and dark and mysterious? Is it beautiful, light, bright? Um, does it have deeper meanings behind it, like Thomas Kincaid's work, or uh, there's other artists out there, Daniel Gerhardt's, and stuff like that. That kind of, they can have symbols in the painting that mean something a little bit deeper. Um, so someone said, I think it's what you choose to focus on, plus the way you convey focus to that subject. Yeah, I mean that's a good point. Um, it's that's exactly what it is, but breaking it down further for me is it's really about the colors you use and the way you do your brush strokes. And somebody that uh, really comes to my mind that I've admired lately, an artist that I've admired their work lately is Jeremy Mann, uh, Mann, Jeremy Mann. And you can look at his work, and I can just I know it's his because uh, and it's also the tools he uses. He uses an ink brayer. It's like an ink roller type of thing, um, to do most of his paintings. Some of the portraits and stuff he'll use smaller brushes and uh, but he's known for doing large cityscapes with very uh, abstract kind of patterns and strokes up close, and then from far away it creates the whole city. Um, but he also carries that style into portraits, and he also does plein air. Um, but his plein air is also has some mood and emotion, the way he uses colors and very grayed down, and so yeah, the way he uses colors, very grayed down colors. If you don't know about Jeremy Mann, check out his work, and you'll start to see that he mainly does like two subjects. He'll do cityscapes, but he does a lot of different variations of cityscapes. I mean, he's been doing it for years and years. Um, but in the end, his body of work, different colors he uses. A lot of his scenes are kind of almost monochromatic blues, grays, and then sometimes he'll do browns and grays, and then reds and oranges and yellows. Uh, Very muted type of scenes. But this theme that he kind of carries through, of just doing cityscapes, just focusing. It's almost, that's really, I think, how you study a subject, is to really focus on it over a period of time. And it's interesting. I think I watched a documentary about him lately, and or read it somewhere that the first one that he did when he got good at doing these cityscapes and stuff, and when he first started out, is that his hmm, sorry folks, just having some stream problems, it looks like. Okay, well, let me get back to it. What was I saying? Mm, it was right there. Lost my train of thought here. Give me 1 second. When he first did his cityscapes, the first one he did took him, I think, 12 hours or a little longer than 12 hours. And now, after studying them for so long, he can do a demo in 50 minutes. 50, so from 12 hours down to 50 minutes. That's dedication, that's study, that's really, uh, honing in on a subject and really understanding it, having a broader understanding over time, and honing it down. And, and he does large, 36 by 36, 48 by 48. He's done even larger than that. But, when he does a demo or something, he'll do like 36 by 36 or 40 by 40, something really large. And so going from going from so going from 12 hours down to 50 minutes, I mean, that's a huge accomplishment, I think. And that just shows, the discipline involved, the study involved, the work involved. And I'm not saying you have to paint quickly, or anything like that, but it just shows that he figured out what he has to do, like how little he has to put into it to get it to look like what he wants it to look like. Um, so basically, what I'm saying is just, I'm trying to focus on that kind of aspect, like studying things and figuring out what do I want to say with my art. Because when it comes down to it, when you're not really selling art, you're not selling, paint, pigment, and oil on a piece of canvas. You're not really selling that. When you go into a gallery and there's works that are $3,000 or 10,000 or 2,000, whatever the price is, it, and it's interesting because there is such a range of prices. It's obvious that we're not selling paint, because we bought the paint for so much cheaper. With all the materials were so much cheaper. um, yes, we are selling our time and our energy and all this stuff, but at the end of the day, people are buying it for the most part because of connection emotionally to it. um, the mood you're conveying, the emotion put into it. So that's stuff that I'm kind of traveling down, figuring out, what do I want to convey with my art? What style, um, is my style? What do I like the most? What gives me a sense of like peace when I create it? You know what I mean? I love creating all the art that I've created over the last few years, and every piece has its own little, feeling that I had attached to it, whether it's anger because I hated the painting and it sucks, or whether, like, it's peace and calming, a sunset I painted, plein air. Like every piece is means something to me, but it doesn't mean that that's something that I want to say to the public, or want to use as a tool to connect with other people. A simple still life of orange and apples or something with a lemon, may not say anything to anyone. But for me, I was there, I painted it. It's fruit that I bought, it was part of my learning process, but it may not do anything for anyone else. You know what I mean? I hope that makes sense. So I don't really know where this discussion's going. Um, it was just an interesting subject that I've been exploring, and I haven't really made any videos or anything about it. Um, it's just something I kind of been doing quietly on the side. I haven't really made any posts or done anything, but I've just kind of been taking these notes and trying to figure out, what do I want to do? And I think I have figured something out, um, for this time being, this space and time. um, I really want to focus on, and it's kind of returning back to where I began, even before I even started painting. I loved drawing. I loved drawing trees, and it was kind of pointed out to me in college that they would always kind of make fun of me, not make fun of me, but they would always point out in my graphic design classes when we would do a project or we had a thing and we kind of had free reign, that I would always have a tree in it. There was something, it would always be focused around a tree or this. And there was one of the last assignments in my illustration class that I had, and that was where I did mostly trees. And the whole class, knew like, oh, he always does trees, but I always did them good. It was always something good, but they knew like I was gonna have a tree in it somehow. And one of the last things, we had to do a comic strip that was like 6 frames, and we it could be anything, but you had to tell a story in 6 frames. And mine ended up being a guy that was raking leaves, and he would rake these leaves but in a pile, and the wind would come and just blow them all back in the yard. So he got pissed off and he got a chainsaw and cut the tree down. So in the end, I ended up cutting down, it was just kind of symbolic. It was a funny moment in my class, doing that. I kind of cut the tree down that I had been portraying the whole time in the class. But um, yeah, so I'm tomorrow. I have a plan. I'm gonna go out to a redwood preserve near my house, about an hour and a half away, and I might do some plein air. I'm gonna do some sketching. Um, Take a lot of photo references because I've really, over the years, I've figured out how to use photo references, how to manipulate them, and not get attached to that photo, and really focus more on creating a an image, a painting. That's what it's about. In the beginning, yeah, you get the structure, um, you make sure you get the forms correct and all this, but at the end, you know, kind of almost halfway through the painting process, maybe even before that, you kind of have to just stop looking at the photo reference, um, and focus on what's going to make this painting better. So I've done a few paintings, smaller paintings of like redwood trees and kind of the forest with a bunch of trees in it, and a lot of dappled light, strong dappled light, warm colors, some cool greens and stuff here. And I'm really just liking the whole direction of everything and how it's going. So I'm just going to keep exploring that a bit, I think, and see how it goes. Maybe start doing some larger works, but eventually, I have a really large canvas over there that's a 30 by 40, and I really want to try do something pretty epic on that as like a redwood forest. But for me, you know, going down this route, I know not everybody's going to like it, and it's not about everybody liking what I'm doing. I'm still going to paint other things here and there, but my main focus, my main body of work that I want to create now is like, trees and forests, and exploring that more because it's something that I enjoy. It's just something that I connect with. Being in a forest, it just, something I thought about the other day, uh, is that when I go to a city, every time I've gone to like a city, I went to New York City with my family before, and we stayed there and just saw the sights and everything. And I've gone to a bunch of other cities, and I've been to LA and Seattle, all this stuff. Every time I go to a city, like my energy just gets drained. You know what I mean? I feel drained after a day or two. Um, just, you know, uh, physically, emotionally, everything. I'm just like, I feel really drained. But when I go to a forest, I feel energized, you know? It's a different feeling. Um, and that's kind of what I want to capture is that sense of being in the forest, you know, and not everybody's gonna connect with that, and that's cool. You know what I mean? Um, but for me, it gives me a purpose to create, and also kind of show the importance of trees in the forest and all this stuff because nature is increasingly becoming less and less. Um, I've seen things across the internet of how all the wildlife and nature is now fenced in. Um, and we have to go to it and be in a fence around nature instead of how it used to be where um, you would build a fence around your house to keep nature out of your yard. Now it's like we fence in the nature and keep nature in this little tiny plot when really nature should be everywhere. And which in the west out here it is kind of everywhere, but yeah, good point. The forest breathes and the city suffocates. That's a perfect way to put it. Thanks for pointing that out to me. Um, how much is realism to you, or are you focusing more on tones and feelings? No, I still want it to be realistic. Um, you know, um, that's a good question. Let me explore that a little bit more because when you realism, realism to me with paintings is um, creating a realistic image, realistic looking image, getting the values correct, the light correct. When you get the values correct, the light's going to be correct, the shadow's going to be correct. Um, but maybe you're talking about realism like with colors and stuff. Um, I'm not too worried about that. You know what I mean? Creating, because I've done a lot of that. I've done creating realistic images, being true to what color is really out there. But when it comes down to it, creating the mood and emotion for the most part, you're going to have to tweak the colors a little bit and, or even tweak some of the edges, tweak the composition. You're going to have to tweak everything, maybe even the values. Some scenes are going to be higher key, so you're not going to do the full value range. You know what I mean? You may only do half the value scale, so your darkest dark will be like a mid value on the whole 9 value range scale. Um, so yeah, there's so much to cover in this one topic of a style. That's why I figured, this is something to talk about for a live stream instead of just getting on here and talking about nothing with people. Actually, like, you know, put my thoughts into a style and everything. Someone asked, "Can you make more sketching videos?" Yeah, I can. I mean, it's not my primary focus. I kind of like just sketching on my own and doing what I do with sketching. But I mean, what kind of things would you want me to cover in a sketching video? I kind of made everything I can about sketching. Getting deeper into drawing and like more finished work is, it's something I should do more often, but I'm just not into creating finished drawings for some reason. I used to be into that, but now that I'm into painting, I just, painting is so much quicker for me, and doing drawings takes a long time, and I just don't have the, unfortunately, I don't have the patience to do finished drawings for some reason. Um, Maybe one day, but you know. So, a question about more of the realism to make it a good representation of my subject is in my heart. That's why I asked, but not hyper realism. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, I'm not really into hyper realism either. I'm not knocking it or anything. It's just not my thing. I'm more into, like with painting, I'm more into up close, it's abstract. It's brushstrokes, it's dots of color, it's large flat areas of color, whatever it is. But from a few feet away, it's there. You can see it. You know what I mean? It's an image. That's what I'm into. I'm not really concerned about, putting eyelashes on a portrait. You know what I mean? When you squint at it, and I mean right now you can't even see my eyelashes. So if you're doing a painting of me right now, you wouldn't paint those in. You know what I mean? And all this hair, you wouldn't sit there and do little strands of each hair. You would just make it a value, um, or a few values there. You know what I mean? So I'm not concerned with painting a tree or painting a cloud or painting rock or hair or an eyelash. I'm concerned with value, tone, colors, form. Getting it when you just get the values and stuff right, and not really even worry about what you're painting. I mean, it's always in my mind that yeah, I'm painting a tree, I'm painting a forest, so I got to have, the the bark's got to be warm, the leaves are green, and this and that. But um, at the end of the day, it's getting that value structure for me. So um, I'm still using acrylics. Blocking in still blows my mind and scared me a bit. Yeah, um, I was just watching some old time lapse videos of my acrylics yesterday, and it was interesting to see how I used to paint with acrylics, like just blocking in. Um, yeah, I mean it's a necessary thing, You just throw down the color, and then you just get more detailed as the painting goes on. You do smaller and smaller blocks of color. Somebody else asks, when did you start using oil paints? How long did it take for you to master it? Okay, let me just run through it really quickly. I started using acrylics at the end of basically 2000, beginning of 2012. I started using acrylics in the last quarter of 2011, and I started using oils a year and a half ago. So like May or April 2015, I started using oils. So that'll give you an idea of where I'm at right now. Have you tried Busker? It's an app like Periscope. Nope, I've never heard of it, and I've never used Periscope either. Um, Let me write those down so I'll look into them later. Busker, Periscope. Just wanted to say how much I appreciate your artworks. Thanks, I appreciate it. Um, if anybody has any questions about anything I've said, just fire away. I'll answer. But it looks like I only have 22 people watching, so looks like people are out enjoying their Saturday, which is cool. Um, I'm gonna be enjoying my Saturday here shortly. I'm gonna do some painting, probably make some videos for the future on my YouTube channel. Um, my YouTube channel is gonna be changing here. Come next year and the end of this year, it's gonna be changing. It's gonna be a lot different. Um, just in terms of how often I upload, it's gonna be a lot less. And but more quality videos, you know what I mean? Maybe 1 to 2 videos a month, maybe 3 if I'm lucky. But yeah, 1 to 2 is probably good for a month. But anyway, let's get back to what I was saying about a style. I don't even remember where I left off or what I was talking about. But yeah, an easy way to kind of, for me, that I've been like thinking about is, capturing a mood and an emotion of that, of a scene. Like, how do you do that? And it's really like what were you feeling when you, like, what made you want to paint this, and what were you feeling when you first looked at it? Excuse me. And for me, like being out of nature, seeing that the last bit of light of the day, the sunset, that's what really I like sunsets and I like being inside the forest and the dappled light, but I also like being inside the forest at sunset with dappled light. You know what I mean? But the last 2 days or 3 days, I went and watched the sunset, and it's just epic. It's so epic, and that's what I want to capture, like that epic, the last light of the day, the strong light, and it feels, I want to capture that energy, um, the emotion, the feeling that I felt, the calmness, the grand. It's just epic. That's just what I want to capture in my paintings. You know what I mean? And also just like when you're in a forest, like if you're deep in a forest, it's just so quiet, it's serene, it's peaceful. It's like being near a lake that's just calm, you know what I mean? To me anyway. But there's also a sense of everything around you is alive, There's so many bugs everywhere on the ground. Everything is alive. The grass is alive. The trees are living. There's things living in the trees. Like everything is just alive. You know what I mean? And like with a city, to me, like everything is dead except for like the people. And but everything in a city, everything is moving, it's chaotic and stuff. But in a forest, to me, it's just peaceful. It's yeah. So to me, that's like what I want to capture. Somebody is not enjoying their Saturday. Why aren't you enjoying your Saturday? What's up with that, bro? Do you ever paint live? Yeah, I do. I've had a check out my playlists on my channel. Go to playlists and then check out my live streams. I've done a few like live paintings, but I don't really have a good enough camera to really capture that, and it's hard because I'm using my laptop as a webcam. So like it's difficult to kind of paint live and capture it. A lot of people always complain, oh, the video is not this quality, the microphone is this, but it's just a pain. I try not to even deal with it anymore. Um, but yeah, I've done it in the past. You once said that painting should be 3 parts painting, 1 part studies. Bad advice, along with your color mixing. What? Along with your color mixing has helped me more than almost anything. I believe that an artist style developed automatically can have a little bit to do with choice, but not much. Yeah, you know what? I recently have a book somewhere over there, but it was actually maybe I read this online. I can't remember. Um, but I was reading about artist styles, and it was whether, and they asked them all the same questions. So each you got artist perspective on the same exact questions. And one of the questions was, did you happen upon your style or was it a conscious decision? And I just as many artists that said, oh, it was a natural thing, it just came about. Just as many people that said that, there was just as many that said it was a conscious decision that I made to take this route in my art, and to draw this way or illustrate this way or design, it was a bunch of different types of artists. It wasn't just painting. It was illustration, design, graphic design, and it was like 50-50. 50% of the artists said it was a conscious decision that I made I explored a lot, and this was kind of what resonated with me and with other people, and that's the decision I made. So I found that really interesting, is that um, you know it's not always just, people don't just people think, okay, the artist just paints that way, and they're so unique and they just did that and that's the way they paint. But really it's they probably took years and years to decide, okay, that's what I'm going to do with my painting. That's the way I'm going to, do my strokes, or I'm always going to use this bright red. It's more than just falling upon it, and um, so. Did you ever feel like you stopped progressing in your painting? How did you get past it? Yeah, I still feel like that sometimes. I look at work I did a month ago and I go, wow, it wasn't exactly what I was going for. But yeah, there was definitely a time where, I mean, I've almost quit painting altogether like 2 or 3 times, uh, which I'm not proud to say, but it's how I was feeling. You know what I mean? Um, it's truly how I felt. I was just so done with it. Um, you just have to keep going, and really, you have to take a step back. Maybe take some time off. I've taken like last year, I took 2 or 3 months off. I didn't do any painting at all, and I explored kind of other things. I started playing a lot of chess. Was going out in nature. I was looking at other artwork throughout all the painting books I have. I was getting inspired, and and then I looked at my work and I was going, wow, what was I doing wrong here? Were the values off? Is the subject matter not interesting? Is the composition not interesting? What about it is not appealing? Why is it not as good as this guy's work or this guy's work? Or even why is it not as good as the work that I was doing? And I kind of just figured that out. I kind of moved forward from there. And it moved forward into, sometimes you have to start simple. Sometimes you have to go back to the basics and do a still life of just an orange or a tangerine or an apple, and paint it until you like it, till you like what you painted, and then determine, okay, what is good? How did I do that, and what is good about it? You know what I mean? And take those things into your uh, future work. So I hope that helped in some way. It's really just persevering through the tough times, and sometimes you have to take a break. Um, doing something every day, every day, every day, it can really kind of, if you're doing more work every day, you don't want to burn out, is what I'm saying. If you do one small painting a day and you can manage that every day without getting stressed out, and would you be able to do that for 50 more years? Then keep doing it. But if you're doing 10 paintings a day, every day, you're going to get burnt out. You're not going to be able to keep up with it, and then it's just you're going to crash and stuff. Um, and I've gone through that. I've done that. So, but yeah, I hope that um, answered your question about like progressing and just getting past it. Is just I tried to do a mural using only primary color and white to make a sunset scene. Haven't finished it or painted since I realized it's horrible. Yeah, I mean, sometimes, is, uh, you know, using one color and white to make a sunset scene. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe that's not interesting to you. Maybe that's how you shouldn't be doing it. Maybe the value's off. Maybe the drawing's off. Maybe, I don't know. It's something personal to you. So only you would be able to kind of understand like what's horrible about it. You have to ask yourself, like, kind of critique it. Like, what is wrong with it? The values, drawing, color, edges, composition, the mood or emotion. Maybe the color you're using doesn't convey like an emotion that you want. So I don't know. Okay, I got some other questions here. Let me scroll back up. Just wanted to know if you'll ever consider painting landmarks or landscapes overseas. Yeah, yeah, I would. Um, Definitely would. The problem is I never go overseas. I don't even have a passport, so I need to get a passport. Just recently, I went to Hawaii. I mean, I guess it's not really overseas, but it's kind of in the sea. You know what I mean? But I didn't bring any painting stuff or anything like that. It was kind of just a chilling out, relaxing vacation. First time I've ever been to Hawaii, and it was effing epic, effing amazing. And I'd love to go back and do some plein air. I did a little bit of sketching while I was out there in Maui. I went to Maui. It was so epic. I mean, it was unbelievable. Um, But yeah, I'll definitely consider painting landscapes and stuff overseas. I mean, that would be so cool. You know what I mean? Are you self-taught or you had a formal education in art? I like your painting challenge videos. Yes, those are one of the videos that I'm going to keep doing every month. That'll be one of the videos that I will continue doing is the painting challenge videos. And actually, I need to film one today. Actually, I need to go. Oh, I can't do that. Ah, I should have did that this morning. Anyway, I have to take photos for the next painting challenge. It's due in like a week or something, and I'm definitely not ready. Um, I'm self-taught mostly. I went to school for graphic design, and we had like one drawing class, one not a painting class, but a color and composition class. We had an illustration class, so it allowed me to explore like watercolor and acrylic and stuff. I'd never used oil until a year ago, and I finished college like 5 years ago, so or 3 years ago, something I don't know. But yeah, I'm mostly self-taught. You know, I just learned from DVDs and other great artists. I've never really had like a formal training in person. You know, it's kind of all stuff I've just been, you know, critiquing myself, progressing, and going the way that I want to go, and just trying to be really intuitive with it. Another question: do you have another work, or are you living? Oh, I wish I was living on my paintings, but no, I'm a graphic designer for a health devices company. So I do, uh, you know, national. I do advertisements for national magazines. I do website stuff that I hate. I can't stand doing web design, but I do it anyway. And yeah, I really wish I could. Yesterday, I was really hating my job. I wish I could just get a different job somewhere else. Um, you know, teaching art or doing something different because I'm just not liking my job right now. And it's not really the graphic design aspect, it's more of just other stuff going on, you know. Like they wanted me to go on a trip, a driving trip where I'd be driving a lot for 17 days, driving up the East Coast and across to Minnesota and all this stuff, and driving every day, you know, every day, every day, every day. And I'm just, that's not what I'm not a I'm not, you know, working for UPS, you know what I mean? But anyway, that's just me venting about my job. So, yeah, taking time off from painting to find inspiration. Well said. Yeah, I mean, I've had to do it plenty of times, and I try to balance that now. You know, sometimes I don't paint. You know, this whole last week I didn't really paint a lot. You know, I had to work. So I've just been looking through my painting books every night when I get home. Instead of painting, I look through painting books and just get inspired. What would you say your style is? You know, it's not like you can't really put it into words, you know what I mean? I'm still trying to find my style. I'm still exploring that a little bit. But the whole first half of the video, I kind of explained that I'm venturing into doing like just paintings of redwood trees and forests, and you know, using mostly warm colors. You know, a few bit of cold colors here and there, offsetting those warms. You know, complementary scenes. Um, you know, really capturing the mood and emotion of being in a forest and that calmness, that peace, that warmth, the light, you know, the dappled light, kind of light versus shadows. So I don't really know how, you know, I can't describe that style in one word, you know what I mean? Um, More questions here. Is taking a pic a good way to have something to paint indoors? Is taking a picture a good way to have something to paint indoors? Yeah, using reference photos and stuff. Yeah, I mean it's fine. I try and you know I went for a while trying. I went for a few years not using reference photos at all, and I think that's a good idea of not using reference photos for a while and painting from life, painting still lifes, going outside. You know, I still you know plein air. I'm never gonna stop doing. That's something that I always need to do, and I wish I could do it a lot more than I am. Um, But yeah, painting from reference photos is like an art in and of itself, like learning to paint from photos and not worry about, you know, recreating that photo exactly how it is. So it's definitely good to, utilize and kind of not utilize that skill, but kind of refine that skill or build that skill of painting from a reference photo, but be more focused on creating a good painting and not recreating the photo, because usually most reference photos are garbage. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, the photo is garbage, and you have to create a good painting from that garbage photo. You know what I mean? So that's what it comes down to. Um, just reading the comments here, more questions. Just saying this for the playback. People are going to be watching this, and it's going to be boring staring at my face while I'm reading. Color mixing I get, but I need to learn more, I think. What is the best way to learn? I seem to regress unless I keep practicing. Yeah, I mean, practice is a huge part of it, but the best way to learn, that's tough. I mean, I look at other artists' work constantly. I look at my own work and critique it, and everybody learns differently, so it's tough to say. We are our own worst critics. Yeah, definitely. I mean, excuse me, to a point you have to, excuse me here, just need to get something to eat or drink. Just keep practicing. That's the way to do it. Yeah, I mean, practice is a huge part. I mean, you have to put in the hours and hours and hours of training. You know what I mean? The Olympics are going on right now. So, think about that. Think about people in the Olympics, these athletes and stuff. They train, probably almost every day or a lot of hours per week to go and compete and do well in the Olympics. So think of that, translate that to your art. Think about the best artists out there. Think about uh, how much they trained every day, every week, whatever. And if you want to be as good as them, in a really short amount of time, shorter than what they did, you have to train even more than they did. Train 5 times more than they were. You know what I mean? If you want to be better at painting than me, you know, start painting every day, because I can't paint every day. But if you painted every day for many hours, I mean, you would eventually kind of pass me up almost. It depends. Everybody's different. But but yeah, I mean, it comes down to practice and training for the most part. It's like I try to think of it like a sport. You know what I mean? If I get burnt out with painting, I change my medium, like drawing or using brush markers, things like that. Yeah, that's a good point. Also, if you get burnt out, start drawing or start doing photography. Try something different. That's what I did. I started playing chess, which is totally, it's not really an art form, but it was kind of like a different, it helped me see things differently somehow. It's hard to explain, but thanks for answering my question. Yeah, of course. That's what I'm here for, man. Yeah, that's what I'm here for. Are you trying to develop more abstraction through nature observation? Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a good way to put it. Um, Definitely. That's very interesting. I have to color mix every day, or at least I try. I've been doing art for 15 years and I still don't know what my style is. I think it's because I do pieces of art in many different ways. Yeah, I mean, so it may take 35 years for you to develop your style. You know what I mean? You may never develop a style. Maybe you have a few different styles. Try to maybe narrow it down to like 2 or 3 different ways you paint, or things that you do, or mediums that you use, I mean, you can do other things, but to the public or like what you post online or stuff like that, you try to create like a solid body of work that people are going to recognize. Um, Giving and accepting criticism can really help an artist, I think, but a good critique of your work is hard to find. Your thoughts? I mean, basically, you just have to find a group of artists that you think are good and, give them your work to critique. Um, yeah, it is kind of hard to find, if you, excuse me, if you think of places like DeviantArt online, like DeviantArt, um, on there, it's usually hard to get a critique because most people just go, "Oh, good job, good work." They leave a comment, and they don't really critique it. And even on YouTube, I get a lot of crappy comments, but a lot of it, people don't really critique. They just point out what's wrong with it. That's not really critiquing it. Critiquing it is pointing out what's wrong with it, but also saying what's good about it. Because if you don't mention what's good about it, how is an artist going to learn? I mean, of course, if you just say what's wrong with it, obviously, I guess you're saying that everything else is fine. But sometimes it's good to know what's good and what's bad. I mean, it's. But yeah, I mean, critiquing is it's good to get from other artists, but you really need to develop that within yourself, and that's what I try to do, is have a goal of what you intend your art to look like and what you intend it to be. Like, what are you going for? Like before you start a painting, really think about your subject and go, what is my goal here? Do I want a sense of strong light versus the shadows? Do I want the colors to be really vivid? Am I going for uh, making it, using the least amount of color I can, making it as gray as I can, but still making the colors read? What is your goal for the piece? And then at the end, when you're done painting it, go, how does it relate to my goal? What does it look like? Does it look anything like what I envisioned? Am I is If it doesn't, am I still okay with how it came out? What is wrong with it? Are the values okay? The drawing okay? The edges, the composition, is the drawing correct? Do I need to move something? Is it appealing? Is the brushwork? There's so many different little things to think about. So, um, I guess that's my thoughts on it. I guess in a kind of rambling sort of way that I explain things. Do you find yourself being unsure of your brushstrokes and just feeling nervous when you step away from your painting for a while? I find this to be a huge battle for myself. Any tips to combat this? Unsure of your brushstrokes? No, not really. Um, maybe sometimes. Um, but to me, if it looks wrong to me, I fix it. You know what I mean? You have to um, not be so nervous, which is really fear. You're kind of, it seems like you're scared of how it's turning out or how it might turn out. You know, have a goal, but it's, stuff that I say is going to be contradictory, but like try not to have like really high expectations. You know what I mean? Just worry about values, color, form, and go from there. And eventually you'll start, you know, brush brushwork. Brushstrokes are not, um, each artist is different with how they do brushstrokes. And some of my work, and even in one painting, sometimes the brushstrokes will be strong and really be showing. And in some areas, it's going to be really smooth, just a big flat block of color with not many brushstrokes. And sometimes that's good to have because you want the eye to focus on a certain area where all these brushstrokes are and funny edges and all these things going on. And then other areas you want the eye to be able to rest and have this flat area of color where the eye can kind of rest and it kind of moves you into a, back around to that passage of crazy little bits of brushstrokes. Um, so, man, that's really tough. That's probably one of the toughest questions I've ever gotten. Do you find yourself being unsure of your brushstrokes and just feeling nervous when you step away from your painting for a while? To me, if my painting isn't going right, whether it's the brushstrokes or not, if I'm nervous with my painting and, I've been working, sometimes I'll work on it for like 2 or 3 hours. A small painting, I'm talking a small painting, 6 by 8 or an 8 by 10. I've worked on some paintings that long for like 2 or 3 hours, and I go and I finish the painting, and then at the end, I don't like it, and I just wipe the whole thing down. You know what I mean? Right after I paint it, I just go, "This wasn't even what I was looking for. I overworked it. The brushstrokes just weren't showing enough the way I wanted, and it lost its life. Really, I overworked it to death, and I killed the painting. So then I have to bury it. You know what I mean? I wipe it down, and I start on a new painting. And usually, the newer painting that I start on is better than the one I just did. Um, so yeah, usually if it's not going well for me, I kind of I get rid of it. High expectation is totally a big part of it. Yeah, I think so. I think that's why I said it, because I that's kind of the vibe I got, is like you have like these high expectations, and like you're nervous of like meeting them, and you can't really worry about it. You know what I mean? It's at the end of the day, you can only do your best, and if you give it your best effort, that's all you can do. You can't do better than your best. And some days your best will be way up here, and some days your best will be, not so good. So it just depends. You have to just keep practicing and just keep working at it. It's just like going to the gym or lifting weights or running or something. If you want to get better, you want to get more fit, you want to get more in shape, you have to just over time slowly work at it every day. You work out 3 times a week, and you do that for a year, and you eat correctly, you slowly increase your weights, you're going to have muscles. That's just how, your body's going to adapt. And oh, that explains it. My style is photorealistic. That explains it a little bit more. Yeah, for me, I like more brushstrokey work. I like my brushstrokes kind of showing. For me, I don't want to hide the fact that it's a painting. Um, that might be different for you. Your goal is that you want to hide the brushstrokes. So I can see how that can be really challenging. Looking at that from a different angle now, that can be challenging. Um, so yeah, that just takes practice, because uh, that can be difficult. I'm using acrylics and had an artist block during the summer. Couldn't pick up my canvases and paint. Today I changed it up. Took a watercolor paper and cut it up in small pieces and just started painting on them all. Yeah, I mean it's pretty interesting. You just experiment, have fun, man. That's the thing people forget about art, is if it you got to have fun with it. You know what I mean? If it's torturous, and if it's torture to you, you know, you got to kind of step back and reevaluate why you're doing art and what are you trying to get out of it. For me, I get a lot of joy out of creating what I do, and for me, the whole process is fun. I love the whole process. I mean, not all the time. Sometimes the process I hate it, and I end up, my canvases turn into frisbees, and I, throw them and get pissed off. But um, not too literally, but I don't have good days all the time. But as I'm progressing and getting better, I'm having more good days than bad, and you know, can't paint a masterpiece overnight. Exactly, exactly. It takes a lot of time. I learned more from my failures, I think. My mistakes are easier to remember. Yeah, I mean, that's the most valuable part of this whole painting process and creating process, is learning your failures, your mistakes. Think back when you were a kid, spilling milk, or, spilling something, or, you're trying to fix your dinner and you end up burning it or something. or you're riding your bike and you fall off, you know, you go down this hill, it's too quick, you fall off, you hurt yourself. You know, you learn from those things. You don't just go and start doing it again. I mean, sometimes you do. Sometimes you have to do it 2 or 3 times before you actually learn what you should do. Um, so, yeah, mistakes and failures are very valuable. Do you study artist anatomy to understand the forms you are portraying? Well, good question. Anatomy, anatomy in nature or in portraits? You know, with portraits, I know a little bit anatomy, but I don't know a whole lot. Um, you know, I know a lot of the forms of the face and where they, um, you know, I've studied all that. I've kind of I understand forms and sometimes I lose sight of that when I'm painting, um, but yeah, I always overall, you know, at least very recently. Excuse me, guys. Sorry about that. You know, I was painting a tree the other day, and I had to be really aware of the whole form of the tree. You know, it's a cylinder, and there's kind of this unevenness in the cylinder shape. You know, the tree kind of, you know, where it juts out, then it comes back in, juts out. You know, there are these crevices and all kinds of things on the tree, and I had to be really aware and not get lost in all those crevices and bark patterns and all that. I had to put that variation in, but still maintain the entire cylindrical form. So that's important. You know, I think portraits and figures and stuff are a lot tougher uh, anatomy wise than something like a tree. Um, you know, there are a lot of different forms in a tree, especially when you get down to the bottom with the roots. You know, they start going at different angles with the light hitting it. But really, um, you know, when you paint from a photo reference or you paint from life or however you paint it, you know, it's just studying that light pattern. You know, uh, rocks are something that's very tough for me, that I need to do more of. But you know, but really thinking about it, you know, it's all just planes to me. Anyway, that's how I think about it. I don't want to like talk about it forever, but um, so the original question: do you study artist anatomy to understand the forms you're portraying? I mean, here and there. I mean, I've studied it for years and years. You know, I filled up a whole sketchbook one time when I was just drawing of hands, so I started to understand all the forms involved. You know, I've read through. I think it's Andrew Loomis. I've read through all his drawing books and stuff. You know, I know all these forms, and you know, there's a form under the nose right here. There's a form here, you know, right here, and on the sides, the nostrils. You know, all these different things, and you know, it all comes together in the end. It's just studying from life. Need to be uh, IRL social now. Does that mean in real life? Yeah. Uh, I don't really know how that is. Must be nice. Anyway, take care. Later. I'm just starting plein air acrylics, and I started watercoloring tonal studies, and it seems to really work. Well, that's good to hear. Do you paint animals? If not, are you ever going to attempt? Yeah, I've painted my cat a few times. I've painted some dog portraits. I've painted animals, but I don't really have a focus to paint animals in the future, really. I mean, I might paint my cat a few more times, you know, over the next few years or so. Um, since I can paint her from life, she's actually sleeping on the couch right next to me, so um, you know, I could paint her today if I wanted, but I'm not going to attempt. But yeah, I've painted animals before. Excuse me. Bridgman is great to study from if you haven't heard of him already. Thanks. Yeah, I think I have. Does he have any books? I think I have PDFs of his books, or one of them anyway. It sounds really familiar. Do you find that when using liquid that your oils tend to muddy up as your painting dries when doing alla prima? I What kind of mediums do you use with your oils? I do not use um, liquid, and I do not use any mediums aside from a month or two ago. I was experimenting with Neo by Gamblin, Neo McGilp. I'll type that in the chat. Um, Neo McGilp, I use that a little bit. I really like that. It's really smooth. It's nice, and it kind of gives a little bit more flow and transparency to your um, oils. So I have used that. Um, but really, I'm not really into mediums that much. I kind of like usually the first layer I put down is kind of thinned with Gamsol a little bit, um, and then I kind of just use oil straight from the tube over that. Um, and sometimes, like I said, I'll use Neo McGilp or something. But other than that, no, I don't use any like quick drying things or liquid or any of that. Oh, sorry, buddy. Could you show us your cat? Yeah, let me try right here. There she is. What's going on, buddy? Say hello to everyone. Yeah, so she's just chilling out for the day. Um, just like me. So it looks like I answered everybody's questions so far. Only 19 people watching. What a bummer. Ooh, 18 people watching. All right, well, um, it's been an hour and 10 minutes so far. I'm gonna post this link. I'm just gonna say on my Facebook that I'm live on YouTube right now, just so people know. Maybe not. How was Hawaii? Hawaii was magnificent. It was unreal. I mean, it's great because I was on vacation there. I would move to Hawaii tomorrow if I could. Um, I would get a job there. I'd figure something out. I wouldn't care. Um, Hawaii was epic. It was so epic. I have so many photos. I have like an hour, or no, I think I had an hour worth of footage that I edited down to about 20 minutes or so. That I don't think I'm gonna post on my YouTube because I don't think anybody would really care to see all of it. I don't know, maybe not, but it's just of a lot of nature and a lot of just epic, really epic stuff that I did throughout Hawaii, and I biked down. I biked down a volcano. I watched the sunrise from a volcano. Um, it was so epic. I saw the planet Uranus. I saw the Hubble telescope going across the sky. Pretty epic. And then I saw the sunrise, and this was all from the top of one of the volcanoes, Haleakala, Haleakala on Maui, and watched the epic sunrise. And then I biked down it, back down to this bike shop. I went surfing, took some surfing lessons one day. That was so much fun. That was epic. I went parasailing. I went to the beach almost every day. Went in the ocean, just relaxed. I went hiking. I wish I went hiking more, but I went hiking. Um, what else did I do? Actually, I have a list of everything I did. Here it is. I went on a tour of a dragon fruit farm. I did some zip lining. Uh, I went to some cultural Hawaiian show, which was really epic, really cool. Um, yeah, so I mean that was like 10 days worth of stuff, and it was just really fun, man. Walked around. I had like epic tropical fruit smoothies like 2 or 3 times a day. I could just walk down to the shop like a minute or two away. It was. I'd love to go back, but anyway, thanks for that question. It's but yeah, if anybody wants to see the videos or something, yeah, I'll post them, I guess, if you guys want to see them. If there's at least one person out there that wants to see it, screw everybody else. I'll let that one person enjoy it. You know what I mean? So I'll post it, I guess. I didn't really talk a lot on the videos or at all, really. It's just me like just filming epic nature and just all the kind of just capturing memories for me. You know what I mean? But anyway, let's. I got some more questions now. Thank you so much. Love your presentation, and I've learned a lot. Thank you. Thank you for the comment, and I'm glad you learned something. I try to just give as much wisdom as I can here. I'm not a master or anything, but I do um, know some things. I think you have pretty great perspective in your landscapes. Do you just lay that in on an intuitive level, or do you draw perspective lines and identify vanishing points? No, it's all intuitive to me. It's all I'm either painting from life or from a photo, and I don't even use a pencil usually. I draw it in with a thin layer of like burnt umber and red or burnt umber and yellow with Gamsol. I just thin the paint down, and I just draw it in as best I can. And if I draw it incorrectly, I just take some Gamsol, wipe it off, start over. Um, Check out the painting challenge, the latest painting challenge video, painting challenge number 3 on my channel if you haven't seen it before. That one has perspective. I kind of screwed it up a little bit because it was buildings and stuff, but you can see how I just laid in the lines, with paint in the beginning. Do you always do alla prima or do you paint in layers as well? Um, Man, I should probably show you guys this painting I did a few weeks ago for my girlfriend. Um, I I did it in a lot of different layers because I had to, because it's a 24 by 36. I have it hanging up on my wall, and it's a copy of a Sargent that me and my girlfriend saw in a museum in DC. Um, I decided I wanted to copy it and as best as I could. Um, Obviously, it's definitely not as good as Sargent's, that's for sure. But I think I did a really good job with the colors and values and I mean, it's a really difficult painting to copy. But it took me about 2 weeks. Probably, I took a few days off, so it was probably like it probably took me like 7 days to do this whole painting. And I did it in layers. Um, I don't normally do that. I try to do alla prima as much as I can, but some paintings like that are larger and stuff, there's no way I could have finished that in one day. There's just no way. Um, but yeah, let me show you guys this because I haven't really mentioned this or shown it to anyone, and I only copied it. I thought it'd be a good learning experience, and I learned a ton on this painting. But also, my girlfriend really fell in love with this painting, and we couldn't find a good print of it online. So I said, well, I could paint it. I could do a copy of it and see how it turns out. I'll learn, and also you'll get to enjoy the painting every day hanging on the wall. And she was like, yeah, do that. So let me show you guys if you are interested in seeing it. Man, I'm getting so many comments now I can't keep up. Um, anyway, so here's this Sargent that I recently copied, and it the proportions actually with this painting, it's a 24 by 36, and his painting was a, I think it was 28 by 40 or something. I can't remember, 28 by 36 maybe. So the proportions, it's a little more squished than his painting, but you know, just seeing it, it is what it is. You know what I mean? So let me see if I can show you guys this painting. So, I can't get out of the way. There we go. So that's the painting I did. It's a copy of the Sargent. I forgot the name of it. I'll have to post the name in the chat when I have it online somewhere. But if anybody knows this painting, that's kind of my version of it. It's not like, I'll try to zoom in a bit. You know, it's definitely not as masterful as Sargent, and I'm not claiming that. But you know, it was just my kind of study of it. Um, so anyway, I hope somebody enjoyed that. That was an exclusive. You guys should feel lucky if you're watching. That was a freaking exclusive because I haven't mentioned that to. I've only mentioned that to one artist that I'm close with in an email, and I haven't mentioned that anywhere else. Haven't shown it anywhere else. So you heard it first, right here, exclusive. That's probably the largest oil painting I've done so far, and the one that's took me the longest to do. And so there you go. Moving on. I don't even remember what the original question was. Oh, do you always do alla prima or do you paint in layers? So yeah, I mostly do alla prima, but I'll paint in layers if I have to. Um, so yeah. Have you ever painted in watercolor? Yes, I have. Um, I'm gonna post a link to that in the chat so everybody can see the watercolors I've done. These are from years ago, so um, it's funny seeing these. It's on my DeviantArt. So you guys can check out these watercolors. Posting the link now. Uh, so let me get back here. Hope you took a million reference photos in Hawaii. Actually, yeah, I kind of did a little bit. I didn't have a real. I only had my cell phone camera, so all the videos are from my cell phone. But it is an iPhone 6s, so I should be okay. Yes, I'd love to see Hawaii videos. I don't think I'll ever be able to go there. You'll be able to go there. Come on, don't say anything like that now. We're positive around here. You gotta if you really want to go there, you gotta tell yourself every day that I'm gonna go there one day. I'm gonna go there one day. You know what I mean? But so definitely. I went to Florida in the spring, took the kids to Disney World, didn't think much of that, but the nature just amazing. Yeah, I mean, nature is epic. Florida's okay. I've been to Florida a few times. I used to live in Biloxi, Mississippi, right on the coast. I was born and raised there. So I've been to Florida when I was a kid, you know, going to Pensacola Beach and stuff. It's a lot of fun. But does underdrawing with GAMSAW cause underbinding and hence peeling or cracking? You know, not that I've seen with my work. You know, I know other people uh you know, I have a DVD by Jeremy Lipking, and he starts out, he tones his canvas with Gamsol and paint. It's I haven't had any trouble with it, but a lot of artists do that. I think they thin the paint down. It dries really quickly, so it doesn't do much for me anyway. I don't know. Do you listen to music while painting, and what effect do you think it has? Sometimes I do. Um, I've listened to everything while painting. I've listened to um, the heaviest metal with growls and everything that you can think of, and I've listened to classical piano music while painting, and I don't think it has any real effect other than like really helping you kind of like focus. Um, when I listen to heavy metal, man, I can just like, I used to go to sleep and I could listen to heavy metal and fall asleep. So it all depends on that music, how that music affects you. You know what I mean? For me, uh, it just lets me get in the zone. It helps me focus, and as long as you enjoy the music, I don't think it matters. I've listened to ebook or not ebooks. I've listened to audiobooks. I've listened to interviews. I've listened to everything while painting, and I've painted while in complete silence, and it doesn't bother me. It depends on you personally, I think. What led you to like Sargent? I mean, look at his work. You know what I mean? That's why I like Edgar Payne. That's why I like Edward Leon Cortez. That's why I like. Um, Actually, this is my most recent purchase. A book of this guy, and it's pretty. I haven't even read through it yet, but I've looked through all the images and stuff on here. I'm more of an image junkie, but I do want to read it because it has a ton of info about his work and his life and everything, and like how his whole career progressed and what he went through and everything. But this guy did, if I could show some of it, he did like Art Nouveau, I think is how you say it. But he's done, stuff like that. But what really, I saw this book in Hawaii in Barnes and Nobles, and this is the first time I ever heard of the guy. And when I got back, I um, I bought the book on Amazon because I loved looking through it. And what really struck me with his work was the use of color and just the mood and emotion created. And that's really what I've been studying lately. So, sometimes it's not always just painters that you get inspiration from. I love this guy's use of color and his oranges and reds and the light minty kind of greens and stuff. Um, I mean, that's exactly what I've, you know, was doing. And then when I saw this, it just hit me. I was like, man, his use of color is great. So I'm going to learn from this guy how he kind of used color and see how I can incorporate that into my work. What kind of moods did he create using what colors? Look right here. This first image right here, if I can get it on there. Look at the values. Very high key. There's not really any darks there. And it's almost monochromatic. It's all, browns, oranges, reds. Um, but it's a beautiful, warm uh, kind of illustration, like scene. And that's what some of my paintings are doing. When I'm in this redwood forest and I'm creating these paintings, I get those kinds of colors. Um, but now I can kind of experiment. Okay, I'm going to try some higher key. Really kind of tweak the value structure of reality and create a painting that has kind of a mood and emotion to it, and see what happens. Does it work? I don't know. But anyway, um, does how do you say this guy's name? Is it Mucha? I think that's how you pronounce it. But anyway, Mucha mainly use aquarelle, probably ink, I guess. Yeah, I think I have no idea, honestly. He did do some oil paintings that you could find him online, and he was a pretty good painter as well. But I think these are lithographs, but I'm not sure what process is involved with that. Probably ink or something. Um, okay, let me get back up to. Is there any possibility that you would consider a painting series of master copies of various artists for your channel? That's a great idea, actually, but probably not because honestly, the reason why is because um, I would get so many pissed off comments that I don't really care to get, and it's just not my thing. If I on YouTube, there's people that believe like you need to copy it brushstroke for brushstroke. It has to look exactly the same, and those people, those kinds of people, they just don't get it. They don't get. They just don't get it, and I just don't want any of that negativity and crap. You know what I mean? So maybe one day, I don't want to let them stop me from doing something like that, but definitely a good idea. I'm going to write that down. You're full of great ideas. Thanks for always commenting and coming on. uh, that was great. Let me write that down as well. Series of master copies for YouTube channel. I appreciate that, Becky. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Slayer while painting. Yeah, I have listened to Slayer. I kind of listen to more um, newer bands, I guess you could say, like more recent bands. One of my favorite bands is Opeth. I'll type that in the comments. Um, they're not like Musha. So I pronounce this Musha. Okay, good to know. Thanks, bro. Um, but yeah, Opeth is one of my favorite bands. They're kind of going towards more of like 70s prog progressive rock. So I like that. I'm digging that. One of my favorite, actually, I've been obsessed like this last 2 weeks with um, this Norwegian chick that sings pop songs. Her name is Aurora. I don't know if anybody's listened to her music, but like I really connect. Like she has a strong message of nature, and it's funny that I just like I that's probably my favorite. Her album that came out this year is probably my favorite album of 2016. And normally I'm this like metalhead guy, but I'm totally into this like dark type of Norwegian folky pop. It's crazy to me, but I really love her songs. I've listened to the album like every day for the last week. It's crazy. But check out Baron von Henning, blah 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 blah. Those are good names. I'm copying those right now and saving them for later. Thank you for those. I will check out those illustrations. Very much appreciated. I love your painting, sir. Do you please simply explain the color theory for beginners? I have a whole series of videos on color theory for beginners that I made when I was a beginner. But color theory is a huge subject. But yeah, that's another topic for another video. Musha. Okay, I got it. Musha. Sweet. Witness me, senpai. I guess everybody fell asleep. All right. Um. So yeah, it's been about an hour and a half, guys. What more can I tell you? I mean, do you guys want to see some of the recent paintings I've done, like the small studies of trees and stuff? I mean, I don't know that it's that interesting, and but So I don't understand your question. You believe have psychosis design. What does that mean? I'm not really following. Yeah, I may not show. If you guys want to see them, yeah, I was thinking of saving them because I don't have a lot to really like. More sky studies, please. Yeah, maybe. Sky studies like clouds and stuff. I probably do need to do more sky and cloud studies, but there's no clouds out here. I would just be painting a blue sky. I should go paint the sunset tonight though, because the sunset the last few days, if you guys check out my Instagram or my Facebook, the sunset has been so epic because of the wildfires near here. The sunset is so pink and red. It's unreal. Are you self-taught? Yes, I kind of am. Um, I went to college for graphic design, um, but they didn't really teach painting, so I kind of had to learn painting from like videos online, from uh, Richard Schmid DVDs, Jeremy Lipking, Jeff Watts, uh, Morgan Weisling. I mean, there's so many videos I've seen and stuff, and just I have a whole stack of painting books over here. I have Zorn, Sargent, uh, Emile Groupé, Richard Schmid. I mean, there's just tons of books. This guy I just bought. So I've draw inspiration from so many different places and so many different uh, things. You know what I mean? Morning light and evening light. Yeah, those are probably my favorite. Those are my favorite times to paint. Um, so yeah, maybe I will. I'll do some more studies of those. Do you have a supplies video? Not really, but that's funny that you mentioned that because I do plan on making one eventually. All right, so you guys want to see some studies I've been doing. So let me grab those real quick. I might as well show you guys because why not? You know, I mean, you can't really judge kind of the direction I'm going in just from these few little studies because, um, but anyway, let me grab them real quick. Hold on, guys. Hold on. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. I'm back. That was a little intermission there. Okay. Um, do you find traditional art education is lacking in most situations? Love Watts Atelier at the moment. Yeah, yeah, I think it probably is, honestly. It definitely probably is. Um, yeah, I've looked into the Watts Atelier. Another good place probably to learn is I think it's called New Masters Academy. They have a bunch of videos and stuff on there. That's probably good, and it's kind of really cheap to learn on there. It's like $30 a month, but if you just do it for like 1 month, you can watch all the videos and learn a lot, take a lot of notes. You know what I mean? But the Watts Atelier is probably more, focused stuff like that. But yeah, it probably is. It's traditional. Hmm. You know, I haven't really like visited many colleges or anything. I've been to the UC Davis College and I've seen like their art, and my girlfriend took a painting class and it was okay, but I can't really speak on all the programs and what they're focusing on, but a lot of the studios and stuff just seemed really old. It's like the easels have been there for like 20 years. You know, it's just it's really old, and um yeah, they could probably use an overhaul with some better overall, just better everything, you know what I mean? More focus, really. And part of the problem with a lot of the um uh things from what I've seen is like they don't really educate the business aspect. They teach you how to paint well and do this and do that, but then that's it. That's all they teach is like techniques. They don't ever teach like, okay, this is how to make a living as an artist. This is what you're gonna have to do. Here's some options you can do. Here's how to conduct business. I don't know. Maybe some places do. I learned a little bit of that at one of my colleges. Actually, the first community college I went to was way better than the 4 year institution that I transferred to after those 2 years. I learned I learned so much in the first 2 years of my community college that I could have taught the classes better at the 4 year institution that I transferred to. That's how horrible it was. My last 2 years of college was horrible. I got like A's in every class because it was so easy and I wasn't learning anything. I learned more in the first day, in the first day of my community college class, drawing class or something, than I learned the entire 7 weeks in a course at the 4 year class. It's unbelievable. So for me, I was just lucky that I had really great, passionate instructors that, you know, these three instructors that taught all the classes, they were really focused on helping you improve your art, you know. Anyway, I guess I'll show some of my paintings. I'll show some other ones first that aren't like redwoods or anything that are uh, that I've done a few weeks ago. I haven't posted these anywhere, but this is one where I was kind of exploring different color theories and different color uh, palettes. This one I kind of used Viridian, alizarin crimson, and yellow plus white. So this one is kind of, you know, I'm just trying different patterns and stuff. Um, Man, the quality of my camera is so crappy. But, you know, up close, it's all just brush strokes. You know what I mean? See these trees? It's all just brush strokes. But from far away, it's you know, it's you could tell it's just a bunch of branches, small stuff. I didn't This one I really struggled with, but I like how it came out. It's right by the Sacramento River. There's a river back here. Ugh, river back here. Distance with the trees. This one I struggled with a lot. I was doing a lot of detailed brush, you know, branches and stuff, and it wasn't working out. I kept walking away, looking across the room, and just wasn't working. So I just started doing brush strokes, and it just came together. You know, putting these darks in key areas and getting these branches to look correct. And this is probably one of my favorites, but it doesn't really fit with, you know, a style that I want to portray as my work. Um, or at least it's a different portion of you know what I mean? It's hard to say. Um, so that's one. Before I get into like the trees and stuff I've been doing, I'll just show you guys a few of what I tried doing as an experiment. I did a whole bunch of, I have a whole stack of them here. And I did all these in one day, actually. I was on a roll. So I started out simple still life of a cup, of a mug. And this is the reality of what I was seeing for the most part. Um, you know, it was sitting on a table. lighting's not the best. I'm getting some glare. Sorry, guys. But anyway, oh, it's the computer screen. Stupid. So, what I did was I took this reality, and then I just started experimenting with the colors. You know, this is probably one of my favorites. Just warm, really warm browns or yellows, and this I was able to do these really quickly. So you can see there's a slight difference here. I mean, I ended up the forms get a little messed up, and the handle gets a little wonky sometimes and stuff. But I was more focused on like the color of things. But you start to see how the mood is completely different. And that's what I'm trying to talk about with like style and stuff. The mood of this one is just so much different. It's almost like there was like this yellow brown light coming on it. And that's kind of what, um, and with these, I was still looking at the same subject. I'm looking at a cup on the table in this light, but I'm painting it with those colors, with those values. Once again, kind of really cooler lighting, but just changing the background, seeing what's going to happen um, when I use these pinks, purples. Um, how is it going to affect the mood? What's the message here? And not really the message, but how does it make you feel? So I just have a whole bunch of these, another orange one, more just straight orange. I did a blue one. So this one, I mean, obviously that's way different than, it's a whole different mood than this one. It's just, obviously this cup isn't as well drawn either, but this one's almost like it's in moonlight or something. It's just different. I did one that's completely red, which was really tough because the values are way down, because you can't lighten red that much. So I just did like 10 of these, I think, or something. But then there's reds with greens. So then I started mixing the background colors a bit. This one's kind of blues and oranges, a lot going on there. But it's kind of dirty. It's almost like not a good. So some of these are bad color schemes, but greens. But I'm just exploring like mood and emotion, and this is probably one of my favorites as well. It's more of a bluer cup, but warm, kind of, more reds down here and then oranges in the background with the blue cup. Wow, that color is horrible on the screen. Just trying to show you guys all angles because it's tough to portray it correctly. But so yeah, really exploring, and kind of losing the edge here. In the shadows and stuff. It's just fun exploring these colors, and you can see how different those are than the beginning. It's just totally different. Now, not all those, there's probably only like one or two good ones in there that, you could use on a painting and yeah, it's actually my girlfriend's Cannondale. My Cannondale is actually over there in the corner. I have a red one, but yeah, I ride my bike almost every day. There's a real color harmony in your recent work. Yeah, I think so. I think I'm really starting to understand like colors, and I've actually broadened my palette. I use Viridian and alizarin crimson, transparent red earth or transparent oxide red, cobalt blue. So all those like secondary type of colors, excuse me, can be important. Like Viridian is, I find Viridian to be beautiful. It's a brilliant color, and I really love using that. And some of these tree paintings you'll see, I did some the other day, and I used yellow, transparent red earth, and Viridian as the palette. These are the ones I did the other day. just studies of trees. For when I do a larger work, I can kind of use these trees and just place them wherever. But um, man, that camera. I probably went too light with the values here, so I was kind of I used the photo a little too much. Um, but there's oranges in there, a little bit of greens, but this is all viridian yellow and transparent red earth. It's really a lot more orange. You can see that. And then this one as well, kind of looking up in the trees. And then the sky, I just used viridian for the sky. Um, it's amazing how bright this green and this sky looks in this painting, but if you were to really isolate that color and pull those colors out, they're so gray because I added like gray to every mixture here. Um, so yeah, these are my most recent ones. Just exploring different viewpoints and stuff. But I'll show you some. This is one of my favorites that I did of a redwood tree. And all of these are from, I wouldn't really sell this as like one painting as like a giant painting. These are just studies for me. And I would put like this tree and this tree, in like a large painting. You know what I mean? So, but for now, I'm just working on studies, different lights, and you can see there's different textures going on here and different color schemes. So I'm just exploring right now. I'm really in the exploring aspect of this. And here's another one as well, mostly in shadow, but you can see there's some little dappled light in here. Give you a close up. There's a lot of color in here, but it's really subtle lighting. Uh, it's all reflected light because it's all in shadow, and that's difficult. That was a really tough painting for me to do. These are probably two of my favorites. I think I painted these on the same day, and you'll be able to tell. Um, Trying to get these for the camera. Let's do one at a time. So that's probably one of my favorites. But you're starting to see an overall theme of these like kind of muted greens and these orangey reds with the bright kind of light yellows and oranges, um, and just forests. And this isn't really, it's hard to do a big forest scene on a small canvas like this because the trees will be like this big. Um, I tried doing that here, but you can see how little impact it has. But if you were seeing it like the Sargent that I showed earlier that I copied, this would have a much greater impact, I think, emotionally, just seeing it would be like, whoa. But, those are kind of the things I'm going for. And I think I have one more, but it's not, or I have two more, but these are my least favorite. These are kind of what I don't really like. These I mean, it's an interesting painting, but there isn't a lot of color going on. It's mostly dark. I didn't exactly, you know, it was an experiment. And then this other one, I kind of have some color theory or harmony going on here, but not my favorite scene and the way I did it, compared to these other ones that are just more focused. You can tell. Um, so anyway, if you guys want to see all these together, I probably should have just done this, but um, let me throw a photo up here on the screen. Give me 1 second. And this will kind of it was a picture I took the other day with my cell phone. And this kind of just shows, and if anybody has any questions, I'll answer them in just a minute. Give me a second. I haven't been looking at the YouTube. So this kind of shows them all in better lighting and stuff. So you can kind of start to see a style, and the two on the far outsides on the left and the right are kind of not my favorites so far. Um, so let me go to the questions here if you guys have any. Any site where you post your work. I do have a Facebook and I do have an Instagram. I usually post there most of the time. I haven't posted anything recently, but that's normally um, that's mostly where I post my stuff. Uh, Deserve a better camera, or there will be no justice to your paint. Yeah, I agree. Let me take this image down. Yeah, I agree. But right now with these live streams, it's not the camera that I normally use. I usually use a really good camera, but for live streams, I can't use that good camera. I have to use this webcam that's attached to my MacBook. So it's not a good camera. I agree. Did you find the red bias cup harder to paint than the others? Amazing how the colors impart a certain atmosphere to the image. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was trying to, figure out and really understand is what colors you use really helps you. It creates a feeling, and it's just how it is. Um, when you look at, I study movies and stuff, and you can see all the colors that are involved in certain movies, and you'll see that it creates a certain mood for the overall film. But yeah, the red cup was kind of hard because, like I said, all the values were down a lot lower, and you can't really lighten up red; it just turns pink. So I had to be really careful about that. So yeah, I think I think I'm onto something with these kind of forest scenes that I like, and it's obvious to me anyway where I want to go with it a little bit, or at least experiment and just travel down this path and see where it leads me. Um, Also, I'd like to mention, uh, uh, since I'm looking at my cell phone here, if you guys can see that, you can't really, but it's my screen is John Carlson, some of his work, and thinking back to when I first started oil painting or acrylic painting, John Carlson was a huge inspiration, and I really liked his work, and uh, I kind of rediscovered it here lately. With all the trees, he always did a lot of trees, but he also did other scenes as well. But to me, he's known for like doing these forest scenes and trees and snow. But so for me, all of these forests, I'm looking at them, you guys saw all of them together, and you can just see a strong sense of light. And some of them are mostly in shadow, but have this strong sense of like dappled light and a lot of warmth to them, maybe. Maybe not as much warmth as I'd like. It's something I'm exploring still and playing around with, like I said. But but yeah, I'm starting to really see a style going, and um, so that's kind of what this whole video is about. This 2 hour video now. It's almost 2 hours here. Um, so, how much does personality play in creating a painting? Personality, like of the person, like my personality. I mean, I think it probably does a lot. If you think of personality, like if you think about it, they've done like studies, not like studies, but mostly like sometimes like the shy, quiet kid, they'll do drawing in class, they'll draw really small. You know what I mean? And then like kind of the more louder, outgoing kid will draw really large and so in a way like I think personality does play into it. I just don't know to what point and how much. Um like I said earlier in this video for my paintings, like I'm attracted to like those warmer colors for some reason. Um but I'm also attracted to like complementary colors a lot, like oranges and blues or reds and greens and warm versus cool, light versus shadow. That's kind of like what I'm attracted to. So like that part of my personality, I guess, can play into what I'm painting um, over time, I guess. So um, yeah, to that extent, I guess it does. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed those paintings. You know, it's just something I haven't really posted because a lot of people won't understand it on social media. They don't really understand it. And it's not something that I really need to post out there, even though I'm showing it on a Facebook video or a YouTube video, excuse me. But I don't think many people will watch this far into the video. But you know, it is what it is. It's just YouTube for me is kind of just sharing my experiences and everything that I'm going through. And that's kind of what I'm going through right now is just exploring this color. And I'm trying to encourage everyone else to like do the same, kind of explore like with colors, play around with things, uh, try to figure out a style. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, to get recognized like for your paintings and to start selling them and things like that, you kind of have to evoke some kind of emotion within your work. And you know, usually it's a consistent emotion, um, for the most part, at least throughout the body of your work. It's something that repeats. It repeats more than it doesn't repeat. You know what I mean? Um, so, excuse me, guys. Just getting hungry. Haven't really eaten today. I kind of just woke up and started doing this uh, live stream, but it's about 12:30 here on the West Coast, so I'm gonna get off here shortly. If anybody has any questions or anything at all, you know, maybe I'll do a live stream later this evening again. I don't know. We'll see how things go. But if people want to, you know, maybe for my European friends out there, whoever else, Australia, people for the other side of the world, you know, they're not up right now. But if anybody has any other questions, let me know. I'll answer them now. Um, if not, I mean, I'll call it a day. I'm gonna go make some coconut yogurt with some young Thai coconuts. I'm gonna do some painting, listen to my homegirl Aurora and do some painting, and make some videos for my YouTube channel that'll probably come out in a few weeks. Just some videos, you know, on certain products that I use. Videos, um, you know, just about anything. I have a few topics I want to make. Is there any right way to paint with watercolor first, then acrylic or oil? Do you mean painting on the same painting surface? Excuse me. Um, do you mean like paint watercolors and then layer acrylic or oil on top of it? I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure. I don't think watercolor would be a big deal to paint over, but I can't say that from experience or what I've read. I'm just kind of saying try it out. But for longevity of the painting, for it to last years and years, I have no idea. Um, so great live stream. Got in a bit late though. Sorry. Hey, no worries. If you have any questions, I mean, I'll just keep talking on about anything. I don't really know where this discussion. I mean, the discussion kind of went all over the place, but the whole overall, it's been about style and finding a style and stuff and what I'm doing. Um, but yeah, thanks for dropping by, even if it's late. What are you drinking there? This is actually a smoothie from the other day that I froze after I made it. I had some left over. It did fill up this jar and it filled up that little jar. So I froze the little jar and I'm drinking it now. It's just some tropical fruit juice as the base with a few bananas, some ginger, uh, frozen pineapple, frozen berries, and you know, stuff like that. A lot of fruit and some green powder in it for some stuff like that. So found this very inspiring and something different than seen on other videos. So thank you so much. Yeah, no problem. I haven't really made a video about this before because I didn't really understand it. I didn't really know it, and I still don't have like the most greatest understanding of all this stuff, but it's something I'm delving into, and it's something that I'm going to be exploring a lot for the next 6 to 12 months, if not longer, and just keep exploring forests and doing studies of forests, and building up my own style and seeing where it goes and how people react to it, I guess. Your paint mixing tutorials were very helpful. Thanks. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoy them. I'm glad they're helpful. That's the whole point of them, is to be helpful. I'm not doing it just for my own benefit, but I'm doing it for at least one person's benefit out there. You can use watercolor washes and then go over with gouache. I wouldn't use watercolors under oil, actually. Oh, good. That's good points. Thanks for pointing that out. I didn't really know, but it's good that someone else is speaking up on that. Would you say most of your painting have something like raw, not so much blended? If yes, what is your feeling about that choice? You mean like having like just straight color on there and not being blended? Um, yeah, I mean it depends. Do you mean like paint straight out of the tube or paint that's not blended? I mean, I have a lot of paintings where it's just straight color, but it's a color that I mixed up, you know what I mean? I think it could be interesting if you throw it in there the right way. And I may experiment with that as well, like in these forests, like this one. If I put, little bits of right on the trunks, like just a little touch of red or something, bright red, and then in the trees I can have like, a bit of blue or yellow straight in there somewhere, to where it doesn't just attract the eye to it, but it's just from far away you can't really see it, but up close you know it's there. It's kind of like an impressionistic technique of broken color. I think that can be interesting. Um, I don't have to use that technique in every single painting, but experimenting with it and trying it out a bit, I think uh, I think it's cool to do, and I think it doesn't matter what I think. I think it's the artist's choice. Excuse me, to give it a shot. Devin Johnson, what's going on? Adam Ford. Shout outs to everybody in the comment section watching right now. Thank you for joining me. Very much appreciated. And yeah, I really appreciate everybody that comments on my videos and watches them and appreciates everything that I do. That's why I do what I do. And, I spend my own time and my free time doing all this stuff for you guys and for everybody out there to learn for free and just learn from my experiences. So, I mean, I do make a little bit of money from the YouTube, but trust me, I'm not living on it. I'm not living in a mansion. You know what I mean? I'm in an apartment. I got two bikes in my apartment and, a 650 square foot apartment. You know what I mean? I'm barely making it by, but uh, that's another topic though. But yeah, man, I do this stuff for you guys. So thank you. Thank you for appreciating it. What's your current color palette for plein air landscapes? And do you think the color palette also defines style? Good questions. That's perfect. My current color palette for plein air landscapes. I use titanium zinc white. You can use titanium white. I just like kind of the smoother feeling of titanium zinc white. Actually, I use either one, but titanium zinc white cadmium yellow lemon, cadmium red medium, ultramarine blue, burnt umber, and uh, from Gamblin, sometimes I get the free Torrid gray, or sometimes I use some other gray mixture that I have already pre-mixed from other painting sessions. Um, so so that's the color palette I've been using this summer, but with these paintings that I've just done recently, I don't know if you missed those or not. Let me flash them up on the screen real quickly if you missed them, just in case. So those are the paintings that I recently have done. None of these are plein air, but they're from photographs that I recently took from the Redwood Grove in the UC Davis Arboretum here in Davis, California, at the university. And with all these paintings that I did, I used some other colors, as well as that color palette I just told you. I used transparent red earth from Gamblin, which is basically transparent red oxide. I used alizarin crimson, viridian, sometimes cobalt blue, but I ran out of cobalt blue, so I haven't really used that. But one of those paintings, or the last two that I did, I used only white, yellow, transparent red earth, and viridian. Maybe alizarin crimson as well. Didn't use red at all because the transparent red earth just works as a red, a real earthy red. And yeah, I think the color palette can define the style um, if you use the same colors all the time. Now, here's the thing: I also did this painting, and I used alizarin crimson, viridian, and yellow, and I got completely different results. So it's not just the color choices that define the style. And I talked about this at the beginning of the video, but you weren't here for that. So let me go over it real quickly of kind of what I thought defines a style is, application of paint, the colors, the values, the value patterns, I will say that, value patterns, subject matter, mood and emotion, and overall theme. And all of these apply to a body of work because a style is really recognizing uh, a painting from a group of work that all has a similar, similar paint applications, similar colors, similar value structure or patterns, and similar subjects or emotions. So I hope that makes sense. How long have you been painting? Since basically since 2012, late 2011. Thank you, brother. I appreciate your help and time. Thank you very much. I appreciate your comments, and no problem, man. That's what I'm here for. That's why I do what I do. Thanks for your answer. I appreciate it. No problem. So anyway, I think I'm going to cut this off here very shortly, unless anybody has any other questions they want answered about style or anything really. Can you dab? No, I can't. I'll answer your question. There you go. Thank you, Misty. I will go eat very soon here. I need to figure out what I'm going to eat. I don't know. I need to go grocery shopping. I don't really have much food. I bought a bunch of bananas last night, but none of them are ripe to eat, so I have to wait like a day or two. It's a bummer. So anyway, yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's been a crazy ride, this YouTube thing. Once again, check out my latest plein air video that came out on my channel today. It's the shortest plein air adventure video in the entire series, I think, and it was probably my most fun plein air video I made, and I really enjoy the painting and how it came out. Once again, it's that strong sunset light and that the interesting, warm versus cools. And I did this painting a few months ago, back in May or June, something like that. And the video came out today, I believe, if today is Saturday. And it's pretty epic. I really enjoyed that painting. Hope you guys will enjoy it as well. So definitely check out that video. It's called The Last Light, Planar episode number 8. It's probably my favorite from the entire series of 11 videos. And yeah, definitely check out that series and let me know what you think, I guess. Seems like painters use a lot of Van Dyke Brown for natural subjects. Don't you use that one? No, I don't use Van Dyke Brown. That just reminds me of like Bob Ross. Uh, he's the only one that I've ever heard using Van Dyke Brown. I don't use that. I use transparent red oxide or transparent red earth from Gamblin. That gives a real nice, it's a real nice brown, but it also has like this really rich red tinge to it. And mixing that with Viridian gives you a real nice dark value, almost like an earthy black. And, maybe adding a little bit of alizarin to it with the Viridian, you can get a really nice dark, earthy color. And I don't know, it works for me. That's what works for me. And I really like those colors. Um, Kind of the tertiary colors, the Viridian and the alizarin crimson. Um, so, anyway, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. Until next time, I'll try to do these live streams like once a month or twice a month or something, just to check in and see what's up. But anyway, okay, quick question. Then you need to eat. Is your collab coming up soon? Love them. Yes, our collabs, our challenge videos, we do normally they're every last Monday of the month. That's when they are. Once a month, every last Monday, they go live. Last month, painting challenge number 3, one of the guys was having technical issues, so we had to kind of stretch it out to the very last day of the month. But normally, if there's no issues going on with all four of us, it's the last Monday of every month. So tune in for those last Monday of every month. And thank you. Thank you, Misty, for that question. Anyway, like, share, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Keep on painting. Don't get discouraged. Take care of yourself. Peace, my friends. Peace. Take care of yourself. And thank you very much for everything, for all you guys, all the support, everything.